All right, everybody, we are back live on the Dark Matter Radio Network and, of course, PSN Radio. This is Skywatchers Radio, and remember, we have open lines if you guys want to call in. Doesn't matter what part of the Rockies you are, west, east, south. Heck, even if you're on the other side of the equator, you can call in 786-245-8127 is the call-in number. You can find us on Skype by looking up PSN Radio. Also, check out our Skywatchers page over at Facebook, facebook.com/Skywatchers Radio, and, of course, SkywatchersRadio.com. With us now, the guest of the first hour, Mr. William Michael Mott, the host, or co-host, I should say, of The Outer Edge. Welcome, my friend. It's been a while since you've been on the show with us.
Yeah, it has. Thanks for asking me to be on, man. You say I'm the guest of the first hour. You mean the guest of the second half hour?
Well, the second half of the first hour.
The first hour of the second half hour.
Right. What he said.
Yeah.
So what's new with you, man? What's new in Mike Mott's world? Give us an update on what you're working on. Just
different stuff, you know. I've talked about it on the radio show a little bit. I don't know when, but I guess I'm somewhat slated to be on Ancient Aliens this season, so
yes,
that's coming up.
I'm
awesome.
Not sure when is that going to happen. You don't know the date yet?
You know, it was going to be the third episode, and then they pushed it back because they're still working on it, and they're actually using some stuff from two of my books. So,
which topic?
I don't know if I should say yet or not because I don't want to steal their thunder on that.
Well, when does the season start anyway?
Seasons. They just had the fourth episode.
So you said it was in the third. So I'm sure it's
so it's been pushed
on the
back
slate.
Because,
I'm sure.
Yeah, in fact, I provided them with some more imagery and stuff this past week. But that's pretty exciting.
Imagery. Does that mean you did something with your hair too?
Not much hair there to do anything with, man.
Oh, darn.
But anyway, they.
I like to.
Him and Giorgio Tukulus should just like get together.
I cannot pronounce his name. For the life of me,
see, and that's the one name I can pronounce, and I'm the one that can't pronounce names on the show.
I thought it was Sukulus, but
Tukulus.
That's me.
I know, but he's got this other new show that I actually liked. He was looking.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know, the one I saw, he was looking for the Loch Ness Monster and Lake Champ. You know, funny as it is, I've actually been boating on Lake Champlain. Didn't see anything.
You never will.
But it saw you.
Because it wasn't real.
But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be on there, and so that's definitely supposed to happen. And then
that's very cool.
And by the way, I also have started rereading some ufology from way back.
Oh, no kidding.
John Keel.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Good read. Good to read.
Real good. There's a book that he has, which was really rare for a long time. If you can get it, check it out. It's called The Eighth Tower. But it's the book where he really goes into his ideas about the electromagnetic, well, not just the electromagnetic spectrum, but what he calls the super spectrum, which is sort of the spectrum of all of reality. You know, it encompasses everything from gravity to cosmic rays to, just the gamut. And he makes it work very well. He shows how UFOs may actually be from elsewhere on the spectrum rather than from other planets.
So are we going back to like we're all living in a hologram kind of thing?
Or in a wave. More like in a wave, right?
I think that his point is that it's all energy, and really it is. I mean,
yes,
atoms are mostly empty space, and we only perceive solid things because we're made of what seems solid to us. So,
I had a conversation with a guest, Mike, not to cut you off, but I had a conversation with a guest recently on the Jackal's Head, my Sunday show, maybe a few weeks ago, and the topic of Mars came up, and they told me, Mars is largely populated with life. There's intelligent life there now, and NASA and the U.S. knows about it. There's definitely some life there, and there's pictures. You can look at them, and then they showed me some pictures, and I saw rocks and dust and debris, and just natural debris, not anything man-made or alien-made, just natural stuff, laying around. And I asked, "Where's the life?" They're like, "Well, it's in a different spectrum." We can't see. So we can't see the life. That's exactly right. But it's there. You can't see it.
But that's not what Keel's saying.
Yeah, they're all wearing the Predator outfits.
But in a way, it is.
Here's the thing.
In a way, it is though.
When Viking landed, they did a number of tests. This was back in the 70s, and they had two tests for life. One had to have only a low level of reaction to indicate life.
30
One was
parts
much
per million. I know which one I know the study you're talking about.
Right, and one was much more stringent. So they did find evidence for a chemical reaction which would indicate that life in microbial form was present in the soil. And this was kind of covered up. People just didn't want to talk about it. They said, well, it's such a low amount of gaseous material that we can't really say for sure. But the whole point was it was designed to detect a very low amount. That's the whole point of the test. So, then there are anomalies on Mars. There always have been. But until I see a fart.
Yeah, no. Well, you're missing the point. I get exactly what you're saying. You're talking about actual microbial life. Yeah. No. This person was talking about there's like cities and beings and automobiles driving around, and they have jobs, and they wear like bow ties because bow ties are cool, right? So this person is saying that there's like living, breathing humanoid beings on Mars, like 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot, whatever. Not microbial life. And they're in some sort of spectrum of reality that we can't see them. So when we look, there's nothing but rocks. But no, they're there, and they're walking around, and they're doing their Martian stuff. Their wibbly wobbly stuff. But we just can't see it.
2 or 3 things here to look at. First of all, if they're in another spectrum, we can't see them. Then how the hell does this guy know that they're there?
That's my point. That's what I was trying to get to. Thank you so much.
The channel. That's what he did. He saw it.
And that's exactly what he was getting at.
But the other thing, and this is something that Keel talks about, but Keel was ahead of his time because we have physicists saying the exact same thing, except they call it superstring theory. And so basically what it says is that anywhere where you probably have a large gravitational force, like where a planet is located, where a sun is located, that type of thing, then that force, gravity, is probably going to be existent in that spot, more or less, across the spectrum of possible universes. Does that make sense? So in other words, there are some things that are going to be common. So if that's true, then there could be another Earth here, and another Earth, and another Earth.
Right.
We can't perceive it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We're talking about parallel universes, and we're talking about that's a different animal than what this person's saying, though. This person's not saying parallel universe. No, they're saying no. They're sort of sharing this reality with us. They're just slightly off the wave that we're on.
They're just not using the same color spectrum
that
we are.
Well, guys,
basically.
But see, that's the whole point. The thing is what superstring theory basically says is that there could be other realities that coexist in the same space and time, and in different time reference in the same space, and all these other types of things, but we can't perceive them, and they can't perceive us normally under normal conditions. So, the thing is that somebody who's got a simplistic view would say they're on a different vibrational frequency, but really it's kind of like that because they're on a different wavelength. What they're calling a vibrational frequency is actually a wavelength of the spectrum of reality itself. So, you have all these New Age people that try to explain these advanced concepts in their simplistic way, and they kind of
better than nothing.
They bungle it quite often. But it's kind of like the people that claim to channel things. I channel the Ascended Masters and the Galactic Council and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what you do. If you want to channel that, maybe you really are getting messages from somebody.
Excuse me, I have a collect call from the Palladian system.
But here's the thing: if you can channel somebody that you can't see, how do you know who the hell you're talking to, or what they're telling you is the truth?
I mean, do you have space for ID?
Yeah, there you go. Or even better, maybe you're just completely Looney Tunes. So
Aha.
I mean, that whole thing.
Bingo.
When you claim to be a channeler and you record what you're channeling, not just through your own mouth, but say somehow independently you verify it, then maybe somebody will listen to you.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about that for a second. Channeling the new agey stuff that is really popular now with all the kids. All the rage. All this. I'm a starseed. Yeah. That's all the rage. Like, what the hell is wrong with people?
That's so loaded for bad jokes. A starseed. Yeah, you ran down your daddy's leg.
Oh, jeez. And
That's what Miley Cyrus is. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I mean, that's bad, I know. But, hey, it's so absurd. Or I'm a walk-in. Oh, does that mean you're demon-possessed? What the hell is that? Walk-in.
I've had people contact me to be on the show before, Mike, and I've had a person a few years, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, contact me saying, I'm a starseed, and I have a story to tell, and I want to get on your radio show, and I have this really interesting story. You're just going to flip out when you hear it. And then I asked her, exactly what do you mean you're a starseed? And she tried to explain to me what she meant by it. And then, that she was saying, oh, I'm from another galaxy, and started explaining all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, well, were you born on Earth? Well, yeah. So how could you be from another galaxy? You were born here. Like, the whole concept of it's really, really mind-bending and
right.
Semi-retarded.
Well, I do have
only semi.
I gotta have a retort on this one. One thing I do realize, though, whether it's localized on this planet or not, reincarnation does exist.
Oh my!
There's been too
many. You're touching on something I was about to talk about. Go
ahead. My whole thing is that there's been verifiable evidence of children being able to recall. Children that have been able to recall their death during World War II, or and all sorts of other information. Like the best one was the kid who was asked what was he in a prior life when he was 3 years old, and he said, "I was a train conductor." Oh. A train conductor, and he literally gestured with his hand, going toot toot. But the funny part is the kid was blind.
Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you guys something about reincarnation. And
I'm just wondering if someone's reincarnating from another universe or a parallel universe or from another star system here. I don't know.
Now
or maybe he just went toot toot and likes trains.
Well,
if the kid's never seen it.
But when he sleeps, he dreams. Maybe he dreamed of a train.
If he's blind, how can he dream an image of a train?
In his mind, he created what a train would look like, and he dreamt of a choo-choo train.
If he's never seen before, how would he know what it looks like?
Somebody described what a train... Somebody sat there and they're like, I'm going to read you a story. I'm going to describe the little engine that could. And he started describing automobiles and cars and trucks and trains. And one day he got all caught up on trains, and the kid just loved trains.
Okay, you're just making excuses.
Now I'm going to give you guys another explanation for all of this.
I'm just trolling.
Oh, good. You have a better explanation.
Yes,
good.
I think.
Yeah, because mine blows,
I've actually
man.
read all this literature on reincarnation years ago, and
I'm sure it's better than anything I have.
And here's my take on the whole situation. And this does touch into what Alan was talking about other planets and other universes, and people possibly being reincarnated from other places. Okay, remember earlier we were talking about energy and about wavelengths of energy and how everything's made out of energy. Mm-hmm. This is true,
right?
That's why Einstein said that matter can never be destroyed. It's just transformed into energy, and vice versa. Nothing is ever really destroyed. Okay,
that's what they say, right?
Yeah. If you're talking about a super spectrum universe,
right,
and understand that the human brain, this has been verified in the lab. You guys can Google this and find it. The human brain is an electromagnetic transmitter and receiver.
Absolutely, it fires neurons to work. Yeah,
absolutely, and not only that. Under select conditions, they have proven that it can actually receive and send a form of radio waves, and it can receive radio waves. How many times have you been driving down the road and you think about a song and you turn the radio on and that song is on?
Last time it happened to me was 1997.
That's happened to me all the time.
It was "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, it's not impossible.
Kiss from a rose.
It's not impossible that your brain was picking up that frequency.
Could be.
Yeah, it's not impossible at all. They've already
not at all. It all depends on how many cavities.
Let's take it a step further. Okay, the Earth, just the Earth, is the largest electromagnet we know of. It has an iron core which is rotating, and it generates our magnetic field. Without that going on, we would have no Van Allen belt, and we would all die very quickly and painfully from cosmic radiation.
Yeah, we just wouldn't be here to begin with.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, we live on this enormous hard drive, because that's basically what it amounts to. Just like inside your computer, you've got this thing spinning that generates the entire electromagnetic response of the computer. The same thing happens with the Earth itself. It generates an enormous electromagnetic field, and actually every now and then it resets. That's when you have what's called a a magnetic pole reversal, and then it comes back like 1,000 times stronger than it was right before it flipped, which, by the way, we're getting close to a flip. So when it changes, the laws of physics may be a little bit different because the electromagnetic field on the Earth will be a lot more powerful. That happens every time it flips, and they can tell that by looking at the formation of iron and other magnetic minerals.
Now, here's an interesting question.
But wait, Alan. Okay, here's the point I'm getting at.
Let him get to the point.
If the electromagnetic field of the Earth is kind of like a hard drive, and then you got phenomena on the Earth like residual hauntings, reincarnation, or people who think they're reincarnated, all these types of things. Who's to say that people that are under the impression that they're reincarnated are not actually people whose brains are attuned specifically to different tracks, different people's memories, different people's experiences that have been laid down, just like on your computer. When you delete a file, that file is not gone. It's always there. It can be recovered by someone who knows how to recover it. What if everybody's electromagnetic imprint from your own brain, which is an electromagnetic transmitter, leaves a permanent record in the electromagnetic field of the Earth? That explains ancient traditions of so-called Akashic records, all the ancient texts of religions that say everything's recorded, somebody's going to know what you did, you'll never get away with it, even if it's in eternity. All these ideas are out there that tell us that there's a record of everything. Now, if there are people who say, let's just say that this child that you're talking about, Alan, has a brainwave pattern that is so similar to that of a guy that lived 400 years ago that subconsciously or even consciously he starts experiencing this guy's memories. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I understand that.
No, this actually makes perfect sense. I'm going to get to the rest of the point here, but let me just interject for a second. Okay. This actually makes not only perfect sense on a technical level and a scientific level. This actually correlates to something that I read about years ago that dealt with water itself, where water, scientists are looking at H2O as a possible form of data storage, almost like a hard drive. Think about it. What's the most abundant thing on the planet?
Right.
Water.
Well, and see, guys, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this.
What are we made of? 90% of water.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, again, the thing is that people, when you start thinking in these terms, most people are not going to think like this because they're going to think, well, he's just reincarnated. Well, okay, if you want to take it further to what Alan was saying about other worlds. So let's say that someone is so sensitive in some way electromagnetically that their brain matter on a purely physical level has tuned into a frequency from somewhere else, a recording in our gravitational neighborhood, okay, the Earth. And so maybe they are picking up something from another ancient place or another place that exists right next door, along the super spectrum. So, but again, hard evidence is
hard to come by.
Yeah, it's hard to come by. But when you do have these kids who know things that they shouldn't know, it could just be that they are tapped into this field. And by the way, if there is a field like this that is recording everything that happens at all times, that would also hey guys, that would also explain so-called clairvoyance.
Yes.
That would simply mean that those people have a brain that is tapping into an information database that just naturally exists. And not everybody can tap into it.
Okay, now if that's true, here's an interesting question. Is everything past and present and future recorded and can be recalled at any time and any point?
That is a good question because, and there are a couple reasons that's a good question.
And hold on, one more question. Since you have an iron core spinning around at the center of the Earth, I believe that ruins the hollow Earth theory for anybody else who is into
it does,
in a way.
Unless the hollow Earth is another place in the super spectrum. In other words, what we perceive as an iron core rotating here, somewhere else there may be something completely different there, but it's not in our aspect of reality. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, in our aspect of reality, then there is no hollow Earth.
But here's another thing too. What Alan asked about time and space. Okay, Einstein said that time is an illusion. that, we're trapped in a forward stream of time, but that the future already exists. And whatever is going to happen already exists. And he even went so far as to say, at least once, that time may be circular. So if that is true, then the answer to your question, Alan, is that if everything already exists eternally, which means, without past, present, and future, it just is, then yes, there may be those who can tap into that other aspect of reality. In other words,
but hold on. Einstein also turned around and said, and it's been proven already, that the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time is. So if you're traveling at the speed of light, time stops. So if that's the case, the future or the past doesn't exist. If you're traveling,
it just means that from your point of reference, time stops.
Right.
Not time itself. That's just your point of reference, because you've reached the speed of light, and supposedly you can't surpass it, but now that is also coming into question. But
yeah,
guys,
I've seen that.
Yeah, but guys, think about this too. Okay, if, as so many things seem to indicate, the more we learn, it seems like everything is information. Everything is literally made out of information. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle basically shows us that reality itself on the quantum level reacts to being observed as if it knows you are observing it, and it will behave in the manner that you expect it to. But when you're not looking, it will do something completely different. So, if we start looking at the whole universe as an informational structure, then this makes a lot of sense with ancient religions and belief systems and stuff that basically talk about beings that speak existence and speak everything into existence. That's just a fancy way of talking about using information to create things. Now, you have this idea also, which is really big right now in scientific circles, that our reality may be a simulation, or our reality may be a hologram. Well, guys, if that's true, then that just means that it is information, and that there has to be somebody who put that information in place. Who is that somebody? Nobody knows. Somebody like me, I say it's a creator. But other people may not believe that. But the fact is that the informational side of it is pretty obvious. Now, one thing about this is that if the universe is a hologram, then that means that there's somebody or something that is outside the hologram. And that somebody or something is not subject to the laws of our space-time continuum, because the space-time continuum itself is a hologram. Do you guys see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I get it.
So, in other words, they can this being or this entity or this group of entities or this super consciousness or whatever it is, it can reach in at any point and interfere in whatever it's created. It's just like somebody fine-tuning something that they've made. So if we look at it like that, as a holographic creation, which to us is, like Jackal said, is immense and, for all practical purposes, infinite from our perspective. But if there's somebody out there that designed this thing, then they can reach in at any point in space or time and affect something, or they can transfer information from one point of the hologram to another point, or to an individual within that holographic matrix.
This completely erases our free will, though, because the future's
I just want to make sure
right.
no one hits the reset button. That's all I'm asking.
Well, maybe free will is a necessary illusion.
It probably is. This goes all back again to my comment about the water. We're all based out of water. I think that's where we all got to avoid drinking that water if you don't want to have past life regression.
Well, it's interesting that water can achieve a crystalline state. Water is also, they've proven that water has something called memory. They found out, for instance, that water under certain conditions seems to, for instance, when they freeze water under different conditions having to do with emotional responses, the crystalline structure changes. This has been shown in the lab. Okay, so here's the thing. Water is just one form of matter, but the Earth is composed of many forms of matter, and there's a large crystalline component to the Earth. It's been postulated that there could be an entire region of crystalline structures at some point down around the mantle, the core mantle boundary, somewhere in that area. Again, this would be something that could store immense amounts of information. We're only now starting to realize that quartz may be the future of information transfer and information storage, because you can just pack tons of information in a tiny piece of quartz. Now just think, if there are huge, like billions of tons of quartz and other crystals inside the planet, there's just almost an infinite capacity for not just hard drive storage, sort of on a natural basis, sort of a correlation here, but for computing power.
Mm-hmm. Kind of takes me back to Superman, the movie from '78 with the crystals.
Yeah, it's a very similar idea.
Yeah, very
really
similar idea. Guys, we're out of time here for this segment. Mike, fascinating stuff as always. Give everybody the website address to your show and the time so they can listen in, and of course, the other website, for your other endeavors.
Sure, man. Well, the website for The Outer Edge is www.theouteredgeradio.com. That's theouteredgeradio.com. We're on Sunday nights at midnight Eastern, and so check us out. We have a lot of fun. I believe that we've got a little bit of a loyal fan base already, and
I'm a fan.
Also, my personal website is motomorphic.com, MOTTIMORPHIC. It's MOTTIMORPHIC.com. And if you want to see my blog, just add /blog onto that. And not a lot of stuff there, but there's a little bit so far. So anyway, that's about all I got, guys.
Mike Mott, you're a heck of a good guy, man. Thank you for being on.
I appreciate it, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Now, we are joined by Dr. Joseph Marra, who's, of course, a regular on the show here. This is the Night of the Regulars on Skywatchers Radio. Joseph, welcome back to Skywatchers, my friend. It's been a while. You've been kind of MIA from Skywatchers and from everything. How you been, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
You're up in the mountains somewhere right now, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm in Pennsylvania in the little rolling mountains here. And, I'm a little MIA because there's no cell service here. There's no internet connection unless... I guess there is some. There's internet connection in various places, but it's sketchy at best, and at least in the rural areas where I'm at. And so that's why it's really difficult to really connect. And so, as you know, I got up out of bed here and I drove up to the top of this hill where I was able to get some cell service so I could talk to you guys tonight.
Thank you, and we really appreciate that.
We really now, you haven't gone away from society and become like a hermit in a cabin somewhere in the woods. This is not what's going on, right? What's going on with you? Because you have disappeared, and we're worried about you, man. We get worried here on the show.
They were beaming me up. I had no choice.
Is that what happened? You were getting abducted and you had to run away from the aliens. That's what's going on.
Right, exactly. That's what the show's about tonight, right?
That's what the show is always about, my friend. I'll tell bring us up to date with what what's the latest with you. I know you have a couple of exciting things happen recently within your practice. You wanted to get out there, and you haven't been able to do your show in a few weeks. So I know you've been kind of muted, which sucks.
Yeah, I know. You know what? Though we're working on it. We got some big things coming for September. Is what we're. I know that I've had a gentleman named Tolik on the show in the past.
Correct. Yeah.
And then I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we got some big names that are going to come on the shows like we've had in the past. A collective group of people. Well, like I said, I don't want to spoil it, but it's right up this alley here, so to speak. So we're trying to put it together. It's difficult sometimes to get some of these people on the same show at the same time to make something happen and do a co-creation. So we were going to do it for the month of August, but we couldn't get everybody together on the same page. So we're working towards September, and I got some individual guests that I want to bring on as well. So we're working on it, and the reason I can't do it, again, I'm back in Pennsylvania helping my mom. She was tearing down her house, and so I had to be here to help her out. Not that I had to, I wanted to be here. And now that that's done, that happened today, now I'm going to get back to New Mexico in the next week or so, and then, we'll be back doing the show again. But as far as...
that's a man who's a good son right there. See? Taking care of Mom.
Oh, cool, thanks. Well,
hey, Mom comes first always, man, so good job.
That's it. I had to travel out here, and it's not a quick flight or anything. I mean, it's a big to-do to get here. But to get back to the show, it's interesting to practice medicine and incorporate what we're talking about here tonight, ET contact, whether you're seeing something in the sky and so what I've noticed over the past several months, the past year or so, but definitely the past several months, people are coming out, and more people are coming to me as a primary care provider and telling me these stories of things that they're witnessing.
Now, when you say witnessing, you're talking about like abduction at night or just stuff like lights in the sky. What kind of scenarios are we talking about when you say witness?
Well, not abductions.
Okay.
Lights in the sky for sure.
Okay.
And so I'll just give you this quick story. A husband and wife were laying in bed, and they had their backs to each other, and the one was looking out the window and the other was facing the wall. And the husband was looking at the wall, and he saw this orange glow on his wall, and he kind of nudged his wife, and who was already like mesmerized by this orange glow that you could see across the field. And he's like, "What is that glow?" And she grabbed his arm to pull him around to look. And they were both looking at this orb of light that all of a sudden came out of the field and rose above their house, and it came towards them. It was about a quarter mile away, and all of a sudden this thing rose up, and they could draw the bottom of it. I mean, it was a craft, and it was right above their house. Like, I don't know, if they were to give an estimate, it was just a couple 100 feet above their house. And so they called his father to get down there because they were freaking out. And I don't know if covers can help you if it wards against abduction order, but of course they're hiding under the covers. And so there were 3 people that saw this. The 2 people, the husband and the wife, were seeing the same thing at the same time, and then their father and father-in-law saw it from a distance. He was like a mile down the road. And so as he was coming towards it, all he saw was an orange orb that was coming across the sky, and it was kind of flashing. So he thought it might be like, I don't know, a cell tower or something. But in the location where they were talking about in New Mexico, there's nothing there. So and so they were trying to run it through their brains, like, okay, what could this be? And they're trying to debunk it. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, this thing was right above them, and so they saw the demarcations of the workmanship of the craft and all this stuff. So that was one case. But what's interesting is more and more people are coming forward and saying, look, I saw this. And I know I'm going to sound crazy and all this, but, you know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you, do they have any pictorial, video, any evidence besides just the first-hand eyewitness accounts?
You know, I asked them that, and they were so freaked out, and it happened so quick. They got the cell phone out, and they were phoning their father. And so that was the task that they had. And by the time they
use the camera on the phone, people, and record the event. I mean, something. Give me.
I know, it was seconds. It happened in seconds. It was so quick, and they were so excited and actually fearful, and that they didn't take the time to do it. You know, so
now are these folks? This was a couple of months ago, but did you record your session with these folks at all? I mean, was this recorded on video or audio at all, or how did you?
Well, no, because this is this is actually family medicine, so I'm not going to, we try to separate this, what a lot of the mainstream considers woo-woo from, and plus there's what would be a HIPAA violation for me to be recording somebody in a day-to-day practice.
Right, unless they consent to it. I mean, they could always give you consent if it's an ongoing study on what's going on in the phenomenon.
Right, and because I'm not geared to do that, and I don't have all the legalities worked out, even if they give consent, I don't know how far that goes with HIPAA, you know what I mean? And a lot of providers are fearful of crossing that line and saying, oh, okay, well, this is family medicine, but, okay, we had this UFO phenomenon happen, and I want to record it. And so a lot of people don't do it for that purpose, for fear of legality.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, let me ask you, do they have any pictorial video, any evidence besides just the eyewitness accounts?
You know, I asked them that, and they were so freaked out, and
Yeah, that is interesting. How many cases like this do you get on a monthly basis? I mean, this was a couple months ago. Do you get them periodically every month, or do you sometimes go a few months without somebody approaching you?
Yeah, I go months without it. But what was interesting is that particular month, it was like 2 months ago, I believe, that 2 days in a row, 2 different people from 2 different parts of New Mexico, because I work 2 different jobs and they're about 90 minutes apart. People had seen different phenomenon, different craft. And I didn't document it, and I go through this so often now that it's just like, oh, yeah, that's no big deal to me. To them, it was an event. You know what I'm saying?
Joseph, do you think a lot of this stuff is imagined by these folks, or do you think a lot of this is authentic? Because, I mean, I'd love to believe that we're being visited, of course. I'm a true believer that there's life on other planets, but I just don't think they're coming here as often as we think. I mean, is there any part of you that thinks, well, they might be just imagining this? You know, does that creep in your mind at all?
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, I don't know what it was. In fact, it could have been our own. It could have been our own military, because there's a lot of military bases. Also, yeah. There's a lot of research that's going on in New Mexico that we don't exactly know what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm not saying that it was an alien from off-world, but it definitely was something that we don't typically see, which is, a UFO. So I can't say what it was exactly, but what was interesting is people are now coming out. How many people come up to you and have like videos or pictures or anything like that? Do you have many of those or no? No. I got to be honest and say no. I don't have a lot of that. And this is what goes back to what we were talking about earlier. A lot of these events happen so quickly, and as you know, I've captured the Phoenix lights on my own camcorder, and it just so happened that they were out over Phoenix, and I ran outside because that's what my intention was, to be there to capture them, and it just so happened that they were there, and it was so fast. I mean, within a minute, and you can see in the footage, it might be a minute 40 seconds or something, and it was gone. And if I wouldn't have been prepared, but even while I was in that moment, I was excited, but I wasn't scared at all. It felt awesome to me, but I was shaking like a leaf. I couldn't quit, and it was annoying me because I was trying to get this footage. And here I am. I'm like, I wish I had my tripod. In fact, I even said that in the video. So I guess that could explain why a lot of people don't get it. But another thing is the how good is your footage at nighttime on these phones? And
that's another good point. And here's the thing, and we got to put yourself in the position of the person who's going through this experience, especially if it's not something that you normally go through. It is really difficult to be there and say, okay, you know what? Step number 1, get my phone out and I start recording this.
Right.
Because you most likely you're going to be like, holy poop, there's a UFO sitting right there.
Yeah, you might be a little bit preoccupied.
I might be pooping in the pants if it moves my direction, so let me not move. Let me not move an inch, because I'm going to be urinating all over myself in a couple seconds here, because this is a scary situation.
Exactly.
Most people, I think, would be terrified in front of a glowing object in the sky. That even if it's one of our own, people are easily scared.
Well, we don't know if it's our own. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's always the fear factor, that we don't know what the heck it is, if it's one of ours, if it's an alien. And really anything, even one of our own, to most civilians, is going to look alien if it's UFO looking or saucer looking. So,
well,
there's that.
And here's the thing: it's like you're mesmerized by the moment, and you don't want to look away for fear it's going to go away. And so if you look away to grab your phone and it's gone, you're like, why did I do that? Because this is like one of those, seemingly once in a lifetime deals that people are afraid to look away because they don't want to miss anything.
Now, Joseph, I know you're up in the mountains and you missed the first part of the show, the first hour. We had Mike Mott on the show here, and he brought up something that was fascinating at the end of the segment there, talking about the Earth and how it's sort of like a hard drive, the way it works with the magnetic. The magnetic sphere around the Earth and stuff, and it was just really an interesting concept. And he used this as a way to explain why there would be people that would get telepathic abilities, or mediums, or people have past life regressions, and think that they lived other lives and stuff like that, because it's all recorded by the Earth in a sense. And it's all data that's recorded, and we're kind of just reliving data that we're picking up on a transmission, sort of. The reason I bring that up now is because I know that you do a lot of work also with folks, or you've had folks on your show at least, that talk about, being from another star system, star seeds and stuff like that. And I know you also have said on the show that you communicated with the being, was it from another star system? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that do channeling, and so to me, a lot of that is telepathic. And my best friend here in Pennsylvania, her name's Terry Ufology, and she's a deep channel, and she's a psychic medium, whatever word you want to call her, and she can shift her consciousness or channel individuals. And the best way I can put this to people that get freaked out by it is on the movie Ghost, where Whoopi Goldberg, she channels the essence of Patrick Swayze, and that's basically, she shifts her personality aside and allows him to come through. And so I've experienced that over and over and over and over, for years. And not just with my friend Terry, but with other people, because it's kind of like us on the phone here tonight. You attract more people to talk about UFOs because you're open to it, and you attract it. And so, yeah, I've experienced all kinds of various ET beings that have come through telepathically. I haven't physically seen them, but it's channeled information. And some of this information is just beyond concepts of, just like what you're talking about, the magnetics of the Earth, and there being a recording. It's just kind of like the old 8-tracks or the old tapes that we used to have. It's recorded onto that.
Right. Which that's the basic idea, because we're even discussing how water could be a form of data collecting, and quartz crystals and all kinds of different things on the planet.
And DNA.
Right.
And DNA, the human body.
as well, correct, yeah.
Yeah, so, we're just scratching the surface scientifically, and people weren't open-minded enough to even hear some of this stuff because it was so what was considered or perceived as outlandish, like, oh, yeah, like that's ever going to happen. And it's the same principle. We're going through this shift of evolutionary thought and an acceleration process right now. It's just like, it's akin to when people used to think the world was flat, and it totally changed their paradigm of the way the universe was when they found out that the Earth was spherical, and also that we weren't the center of the universe. But that's how big the shift is in consciousness that we're going through right now. So you're going to see an acceleration of science and all kinds of stuff just because right now humanity is open to it.
You want to hear something crazy, though, Joseph? There's a Flat Earth Society. They still think the Earth is flat.
Well,
I kid you not, my friend. Look it up. The Flat Earth Society exists. This is a real thing. These people apparently didn't get the memo from Christopher Columbus when he sailed the seas, so nobody's told them astronomy happened. Apparently, they've never seen Cosmos with Neil deGrasse. They don't understand that the world is round, and there is a society.
What? I got to tell you something. When I'm 30,000, almost 40,000 feet in the air as I'm flying, there seems to be a little bit of a curve, but the Earth is so big that even from the sky, it appears to be pretty flat. But we have satellites now that can turn around and look back at the planet and say, okay, look at what we got here. So, without our technology, we would still be, same with like microscopes. We had an idea that there was bacteria or viruses and things, but we couldn't really prove it because we don't have within our 5 senses any tool to prove some of these things. It's beyond our perception. So now we have the technology to prove what the concepts that are, and just like you mentioned earlier, we're going to find so much over the next several years. I'm really excited about it. So that concept I haven't heard of exactly, but it makes sense to me. Honestly, it's like, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What, the Flat Earth Society?
No.
Oh, I was about to say, I was going to start judging your sanity for a second there.
The memory we talked about the DNA and the crystals and the water.
Yes. And, Sorry, I've had a lot of Robitussin in the last week, man. I'm a little bit high on the Robitussin.
Well, I shifted gears on you too, so.
Yeah, no. but that is a fascinating subject, man. If water could be used, or DNA, or anything on this planet could be used to keep data. I mean, how do we know that you guys, or mediums, or anybody who's channeling space brethrens from whatever galaxy, light years away, whatever channeling from maybe another dimension or a demon or a ghost or whatever. How do we know they're even channeling what they think they're channeling? For all we know, they could be picking up a wave of some kind of memory that was from a being.
I believe that. That is exactly what's going on, Angel. But each level of understanding and consciousness, there's levels within the universe.
But at this point, and that's cut you off, but if that's the point, then we really aren't channeling any being anywhere. I mean, we're channeling a memory. We're
yes,
really chasing.
But you can't
ghost.
go from kindergarten to your senior year of high school within an instant. There's these stepping stones you have to go to with understanding, with belief, and you can accept it. You chew on it for a while, and you're like, oh, okay, I get that. Now you're ready for the next step. So what I'm saying is people could get behind the idea of archangels and angels that are all around us, and people still can today. But
Guilty.
those that are in these higher awarenesses know that a lot of these angels and beings like that were nothing more than remembrance of an ET culture or a species that presents themselves in such a way that's acceptable to that person's consciousness. And so as we move forward, you're going to find out exactly
We're losing you for a second there. Go ahead.
We're grabbing onto these conscious memories because actually time is, we look at it in a linear way, past, present, future, but it's all happening in the present moment of now. So you could look at it from a perspective. Yeah, exactly, now. And we're shifting our consciousness moment to moment to moment to moment. And so it's really hard to wrap your head around some of these concepts.
It is, but at the same time, if that's the case, then we're really not picking up, like I said, a sentient being anywhere that's still living. We're picking up remnants of somebody's thought or somebody's life.
Right, not the way we know it. Right. Our life, the way we describe and we define life, we're going to find that's another whole other topic. Is like, oh, wait a minute, we thought you had to be a biological, being just like human beings or just like a cell, a single-celled organism. But, I think that we're going to redefine what life means over the next, several years to decades or whatever it's going to take humanity to get in this. Yeah,
we're always doing that as it is. We're always kind of redefining our existence a little bit on this planet. It's amazing, though, all these concepts and stuff, and it really is all theoretical at the end of the day because we know so little. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's the cool thing is, like, we can argue all day about it, and, every single person from their vantage point is correct. So the truth is nothing more than each individual's point on what we would consider a path, if you will,
of
it's
all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, it takes me back to Star Wars: A New Hope and Obi-Wan Kenobi's brilliant line.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean about everything
it's
being
the truth from a certain perspective,
from a certain point of view, from a certain perspective. That is one of the most brilliant cinematic lines in any film. Honestly, I mean, there's so much beauty in those movies in Star Wars,
Yep.
Especially in the dialogue and just some of the deeper meanings behind things. Lucas was a brilliant filmmaker back in the day. I don't know what happened.
Well, you know what?
Prequels, but man, Jar Jar.
Any of that kind of information that was back then, I guarantee you, was channeled information from an individual, like a psychic person, or even himself. And I thought that he had a car accident that catapulted him into doing it.
Yeah, we did. We brought that up once. And you know what's funny? There is a report, and I read this a long time ago, where Lucas, there's a psychic that came out that said that Lucas took the entire Star Wars story from a real event that happened to him in another planet on a different life.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Possible. All I know is that it's possible. Guys, we're almost at the end of the segment here. Joseph, a lot of fun always having you on, man. We got to have you on sooner, and we got to have you back on the radio, permanently sooner. Also on your own show, man, because we miss you on the network. So, thanks for being on here on this segment, and it's always fun to have you on, man. We got to have you on in the next couple weeks or month. So don't be a stranger.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. It was really fun. I appreciate the dialogue.
No worries.
It's always fun with Jason Marra here. Hey, give everybody your website address if you have one still up and running, so they can search
definitely.
for you and keep track of what you're doing. Like the NSA?
There's two. There's a guiding light and Universal Talk. And so if you just punch any of those in Google, you'll find it. I mean, or just put in my name. I mean, I'm on YouTube and Facebook and, Universal Talk, a guiding light, spelled LITE, .com. And so, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Universal Talk Radio will come back soon, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, sounds like a plan. Joining us is Mr. Stephen Roberts himself, the host of Cancel the Cabal, Unraveling the Secrets, and about 59, 60 other shows. I mean, how many shows do you have on the air, Stephen? Seriously.
Well, live shows, 4 for now.
Only 4, so I was exaggerating just a little bit, but welcome to Skywatchers Radio.
How many of the shows are dead shows?
Well, not so much.
That's another question, yeah.
Not so much dead shows, but I do have 3 other slots from midnight to 2 that I fill on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I normally just play a lot of pods on that network. It's a bit of a smaller network, trying to build it in that, but anyways, it's quite hard for me to find people up at midnight anymore.
Imagine us at 1 in the morning to 3, huh?
Yeah, especially when I was going to answer the Skype snoring there.
No, we can't have that. We've had issues on this show before with people falling asleep on the show, before the show. That you and others, it's been a bad karma on the show. So thank you for not starting with that. But we recently did a show together, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to have you on for this segment, because we touched on something that is going to be a subject that we're going to go over on this show, not only tonight but in the future. Really, really close in the future. I'm talking about maybe in the next couple of weeks. There's a big guest that I just booked, and I haven't talked about it yet. Alan doesn't even know about this, but it's somebody that I've been jonesing and trying to get for a couple of years now. And he finally said yes. We're going to put it together, and it was just funny that we had we had the show that we did the other day with Preston Pete. And a fascinating gentleman, by the way, talking about ancient aliens. And I guess now would be the perfect time to announce that on Skywatchers Radio in the very near future, probably the next month or two, we're going to have an extremely well-known guest who's been on with Art Bell before, Michael Heiser. Dr. Mike Heiser. And if you guys are familiar with this gentleman, speaking of ancient aliens and speaking of debunking the show Ancient Aliens, which Mike Mott has just filmed a spot on. Sorry, Mike. But speaking of that, he did a lot of work debunking Sitchin, and of course he came out on the Ancient Aliens Debunked video, which was phenomenal. I mean, they did a great job of debunking a lot of the stuff that they talked about on the show. And, we got into that with Pete because he also talks about ancient aliens. And that was a fascinating show, man. Just, an amazing hour and a half that we had on there with him. And he was just going on and on about a lot of the same stuff that Michael Heiser talks about, stuff that I've been researching. And really, it's amazing that this is getting out there more and more because, I think people has been kind of brainwashed with this whole Planet X and the Biru, Anunnaki, the ancient alien stuff. Everything is ancient aliens. The memes with George Tukalus, everything's aliens, right? People are really brainwashed by this stuff, and it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, I think it's, I don't know, I think maybe it goes to the anti-Christian. I think maybe it has a little something to do with the anti-Christian movement. Not that everything's going to be God in that, but everything can't be aliens. I think you are right, though. But I think we talked about it the other day on the show with Preston. Some of these movies that are coming up, like Mission to Mars, and there's another one. I'm still trying. I'm still trying to think of the name. I can research it, but I can look it up quick, but. There's
Mission to Mars, and there's the Ghost of Mars that came out, I think, the same year. Is that the one you're talking about?
No. This is
Jerry O'Connell was the Mission to Mars one.
Prometheus.
That's right.
I'm thinking of.
Well, that's the prequel to Aliens,
yes.
Or Alien, supposedly.
Yeah. But the whole premise of that movie was aliens came to planet Earth just after the Big Bang or whatever, and the cool down and seeded Earth with the the protogens and the little amoebas or whatever, the DNA. The man did something to himself, and he just kind of disintegrated, and his DNA allegedly seeded Earth.
Right. Yeah, that was the whole premise for Prometheus was, and here's the thing. There's a controversy about that, by the way, and I don't know if you've even heard about this. There's a controversy that what happened in the beginning of that movie had nothing to do with Earth, that actually happened on the planet where the beings were found. And that it was just it looked like Earth, and that planet was habitable until he did that and changed the structure of the planet, messed everything up, and then they all died because of it. And that's why there was only one little pocket of air that could be breathed. And there's a lot of stuff surrounding that. But the whole purpose of the movie is they think that they're looking for the ancient aliens that seeded Earth. Of life on Earth, which is the premise of the movie. It's a good movie. I liked Prometheus a lot. I thought it was a great film. But it's a film based on stuff that has never really had any scientific backing. And that's what is great about the work that Dr. Michael Heiser's done when it comes to debunking the ancient alien stuff, because a lot of the stuff that movie's based off of, it's kind of hokey. It was made up by Sitchin. I mean, when you really go through the work that Heiser's done, I mean, it's amazing all the stuff that Sitchin lied about. And it's incredible how many people base their belief and have written books and go on tours and lectures and do documentaries, all really based on the work done by one man, Zecharia Sitchin. And again, guys, go to sitchiniswrong.com. I mean, that website lays it all out. And just knowing that somebody who was able to debunk that tells you a great deal. It tells you two things. It tells you, one, that humanity, I'm not saying we're dumb, but I'm just saying since we, for the most part, don't have the resources individually to research a lot of this stuff, even though we all have Google, we might not have the time or the capacity or the knowledge. We still want to believe. Okay, but we still want to believe. Exactly. We still want to believe. Exactly.
Now,
we still want to believe.
If Stitch is wrong, does that mean Von Daniken has some valid points then?
Yeah, Alan and Angel, though, I think it just goes back to a lot of the things. Well, a lot of the books and material that we have today, I could only imagine that it's probably just a very, very small fraction of what they are actually hiding as far as research material, books from the past. We have just literally millions and millions of documents and books out there, but who's to say they don't have millions and millions of other books that they've kept stashed away? And
the Hall of Records in the Vatican is like 5 miles long, man, and they don't let nobody go down there. I mean, not even the Pope can get an entrance. That tells you a lot right there. The most powerful guy in the Vatican has to get special permission from the council.
Well, the same way the president does, because the president's only got a 4-year term or an 8-year term.
Actually, I think the U.S. president can't even go in there. They can't even request to see those documents. And I'm talking about... I'm not even kidding. The
president can't get the documents on the UFOs because...
On anything.
On anything, basically, because he's not the career politician
or
the career CIA director who's going to be there longer than each presidency.
Well, yeah, but here we're talking about just the UFO stuff. I'm talking about even on the Vatican. The Vatican has a underground tunnel in Vatican City that is about 5 miles deep, and it has nothing but records that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. And for the Pope to go down there, he has to get special permission. The president has no clearance to go down there. You can't go on a tour down there and start reading some of that stuff.
I would not be surprised if half the Library of Alexandria's in there.
In there, yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. More than half, to be honest with
you.
All
of it, yeah.
Yeah, all of it at this point. So that tells you, and again, going back to the point I was making earlier, there's a great distinction amongst the people where they believe stuff right off of, just a faith. And that's what happened with Sitchin. I think people they saw this guy. He broke down what they were able to understand were aliens coming down, and he broke it down in a language that they understood. And people just out of faith believed it. But how How easy is that to happen? Very easy. That's how cults and religious movements happen all the time. People just say something and somebody just believes it out of faith without doing their own research. And that's why I appreciate when somebody like Preston Pete or Mike Heiser comes out and does the homework, shows you how you could do the homework yourself and how you could do the research and prove that these things are lies. I mean, it's not that difficult.
Well, it's not that they're lies. He was just really misinformed from his perspective.
Well, not only that. No. Some of it, if you look at the documentaries, man, that Mike Heiser put out there, some of it was downright lying. Like Zachariah Sitchin was like connecting stuff and making stuff up to make it connect. And I mean, when you look at it, you really start to almost hate Zachariah Sitchin. And I was a fan of Zachariah Sitchin for a long time. And it's funny, a lot of people that end up debunking his work started off as fans. Michael Heiser was one of them. Also, Chris White, the guy who did the aliens, I think his name was Chris White, who did the Ancient Aliens Debunked video, the actual director of the video. Yeah, he even started off as a Sitchin fanatic, and he really researched a lot of it himself, and then he started seeing the holes in the story, man, and he was like, you know what? There's a lot of cheese in this story, and it's very holy. This story, and I'm not talking religious. I'm saying it's full of holes, man. There's plot holes everywhere in this Sitchin story. I can't believe this. And then he started doing more and more research, and he just came up with the conclusion that it's all hokey, it's all fake.
Yeah. Well, I think Sitchin might have had a agenda.
I think so. Yeah.
What that agenda is, someone can only speculate. But Von Daniken and
same agenda.
Secaucus, or what's his name?
Who?
Giorgio.
Oh, everybody has a problem with his name but me. Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Tsoukalos, that's right.
Yeah, if that's what you say it is. I don't know if I believe it yet.
All we got to say is the guy with the crazy hair on Ancient Aliens.
Exactly, yeah.
Van Daniken's his do boy. And look, I enjoy watching his videos. He's a funny dude. He speaks, funny. He's engaging. I understand why people like watching the videos that he's on Ancient Aliens. Why why they're fans of his. I get it, because he's kind of he's out there. He's a little strange. He's weird, and it's fun to watch this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, he's regurgitating everything that Van Daniken's been saying for 25, 30 years, 40 years, or whatever it is, and all that stuff was regurgitated and given to him by Robert Morningsky, which was one of the originators. Not to be confused with Robert Morningstar, by the way, from UFO Digest. Two different guys. But Robert Morningsky, in the 60s and 70s, was one of the originators of this whole Ancient Alien stuff, and he claimed to be a Hopi Indian. That turned out to be fake. There's a lot of information on this stuff out there, and this is all comes back from the 60s and 70s from this one guy. And everybody started springboarding because they saw, look, there's no way to prove, for the most part back then, there wasn't. You didn't have Google, you didn't have the internet. So for most people, they couldn't prove it unless they went to the library, and who the hell wants to do that, really? Go to the library? Nobody. Not then, not now. So for the most part, people are like, oh, yeah, we'll believe Van Daniken. It sounds great. It is something to believe in. That's the thing. It's something to believe in, and people want to believe. Like the poster said in the X-Files, I want to believe.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to believe. That's the problem.
And he was given airtime on TV, so it must be true. Right?
Exactly, yeah, because everything we see on TV is obviously true.
Obviously,
of course,
yeah.
Of course.
They don't lie to us on TV. No, never.
Ain't gonna happen. Nope.
No.
So you've actually got Preston lined up for a couple weeks from now, then, don't you?
Yeah, we're gonna have Preston Pete here on Skywatchers also in the next few weeks. Man, we have a packed lineup coming up in the next couple of weeks. And a couple months. It's going to be fun. And we're coming up in December here. I know it's only August, but in December, which is only a few months away, coming up to a 1-year anniversary on Dark Matter Radio Network. That's a whole lot of fun.
Very nice. Very nice.
I can't wait. Of course, 1-year anniversary just means we're 1 year closer to the inevitable return.
Yeah.
And then we have to move. But that's neither here nor there. It's fun until that happens, and when that happens, it's going to be even more fun for everybody on Dark Matter Radio Network. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's leave it subliminal. You know what I'm talking about, and when that happens, when that day occurs, and you hear that voice again, you are all going to be in for a hell of a treat, and I'm dying for that day to come and for it to happen. So, but moving on.
Just over the horizon, that's all.
I don't want to talk too much about that yet, because I don't know how much I can say. Yeah, but
yes.
Yeah, you know the voice.
Yes.
The one that is the reason why we.
You know what, Angel? I I lost a job in 1990. I got laid off, and I bought a pickup truck, and I went all over the country for I don't know, a good 14 or 15 months, delivering all kinds of things by trailer and that, travel trailers, RVs, and stuff like that. And I spent many, many nights all over this country listening to Art Bell, listening to the...
so much of the subliminal part, by the way, there, Alan, huh?
Yeah, well, he said it, not me. You can't,
I wasn't supposed to say that, was I?
No, you weren't supposed to say the name of the Holy of Holy.
It's the holy, the holies of name. But you already said it, so continue. We all know the voice, man. We all know what you're talking about. Late night in the desert. Continue.
Yes, absolutely. But he kept me up, and he kept me going many, many nights. And
amen to that. Yes.
The UFOs, to the aliens, just the ghosts, werewolves.
The things that go bump in the night.
And an assortment amount of craziness. An assortment amount of craziness. Now, you get into a lot of crazy stuff besides Preston Pete and the Ancient Alien stuff on your show, Cancel the Cabal. You get into some hairy stuff there, my friend. Not just the UFO topic, but I know that you're all over the spectrum with that show.
Well, I like a good, interesting guest, and I don't really care what the subject is, If the guest interests me, if they have enough, of a repertoire and a good theme, sure, I'll take any kind of show. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's very diverse. Now, I know you love the UFO subject, though. I mean, is that one of the favorite things do you like to cover on your show?
Well,
shows, I should say.
I've only done one other show that done that, but actually, I was very, very interested in UFOs as a kid. I believe I actually saw something one night, and probably.
Oh, do share.
Yeah, I don't know, probably like 1970 or 71. I was like 6 or 7, somewhere in there. I don't know how old you are, Alan, but when I was a kid, they didn't have seatbelts in the back of cars. And
they didn't have cars back when he was a kid. No.
They got horse and buggy. They got horse and buggies like the Amish. Oh, yes. Here's a good joke. What do you call? Can I crack an Amish joke?
Yeah, go ahead. They're not listening. Yeah, they're not paying attention.
Yeah, what do you call an Amish guy with a hand stuck up a horse's butt?
Oh boy, I'm afraid to ask this question. What?
A mechanic.
Oh goodness.
Moving on.
Yes. Anyway.
Sorry, I heard that one today. I just couldn't stop laughing visualizing it.
Well, the children, they didn't have seat belts. We didn't have car seats.
And you had wood on the sides of cars.
Yeah. But anyways, we would just create a ruckus in the back seat whenever we could. All the time, anytime. And I remember one night, my mother and father played on pool leagues. I'm sorry, not pool leagues, bowling leagues. And I went and watched my dad over in a neighboring town, and it was late driving home. And I remember looking out the back window, upside down, with my head up towards the sky, and I was looking at what I thought were stars, but they were moving. And they would move in one direction, and it would stop and turn and go into another direction. And I thought that was weird at the age of 7. And then I thought about it. It moved in like 5 or 6 different directions, and it went at very, very high speeds. And I knew about UFOs, but I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't really sure what it was. I couldn't imagine it would be satellites or anything like that. But
you'd be surprised, though. Some satellites, especially when the whole iridium flare thing.
Yeah, but changing directions is pointing out.
Yeah.
Well, satellites do change directions, though. I don't know exactly how a kid would perceive a satellite changing direction and the way it would look. Maybe your perception saw a little bit more than what was there. But satellites do change directions, and there's a lot of satellites in space. There was a survey done not long ago, and they talked about how much debris we actually have left ourselves in space, and we are a dirty bunch of people on this planet. Let me tell you, we're not only dirty on this planet, we're dirty off this planet, because we've littered all over the very, very outer part of our planet. I mean, it is loaded with junk up there.
Yeah, you have no idea how many screwdrivers are floating around up there.
Just floating around. It's a miracle that the space station hasn't blown up like in Gravity. Seriously.
Aren't they tracking like over 7,000 objects up there?
Yeah, just floating around. It's amazing. I mean, we're such a dirty, dirty, dirty bunch of people. Yeah. Listen, we're almost at the end of the hour here. We're almost at the end of the show, unfortunately. Stephen, give us your time for your times for your show, and any websites you want to give out to the audience so they can track your online activities and let the NSA spy on you and listen in to everything you're saying.
Well, yeah, I'll just give them that. I'll just give them the NSA information that I have, and anyways, yeah, I can be caught Saturday nights on PSN Radio on Unraveling the Secrets. I'm on Wednesday and Fridays, 7 p.m. on People's Internet Radio, and Sunday afternoon from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, whenever I can get a good talking guest on Revolution Radio. And you have more radio shows than I could even fathom. It's amazing. And I still have the midnight to 2 a.m.
Unraveling the Secrets. Yep.
Yes. What on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on We Roar Radio on April Rain's network.
With the lovely Susan. What's Susan?
Susan Puzel. No, that's
Puzel. There you go. That's Unraveling. Yeah, Unraveling. She's awesome, by the way. Great co-host. Yeah, really love her. Can't remember her last name for the love of me most of the times, but I love listening to the show. She's really, really, really good on the show. Really, really dig her. Puzel, yeah. Sorry, Susan.
That's all right.
It happens. I'm sick. I can't believe the night's almost over. Almost done.
Almost.
Thanks for being on the show here tonight, bud. I know it's kind of last minute.
Yeah, great talking with you.
Great catching up, and it's always fun to have you on. You got to come back on pretty soon, man.
Yeah,
you haven't been on before. So
I did invite you on the One Revolution Radio Network, but something ended up happening, and we didn't do the show. I don't remember what it was, but I'll still have to have you on another time, though.
Yeah, I'm a little bitter about that. By the way, I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to say that because I was tooting my own horn. I was like, you asked me to be a guest. I'm gonna talk about UFOs and stuff. And next thing you know, you're like, you're canceled, buddy. You're like Matt Damon. Get out of here.
Canceled.
Get out of here. It was like Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon all over again. I was like, really?
I lost my internet.
Matt Damon and me? That's messed up. Yeah, that's what he said. He lost his internet. Likely excuse.
I didn't do a show that day.
It was weird. Everybody thought you had died or something. Like, man, where'd he go? He disappeared. He's not doing a show. That's just not right.
Exactly.
He's a busy man, this guy, Stephen Roberts. Stephen, thanks so much, man, for being on the show. I appreciate your spending your half hour here with us. And again, guys, listen to his show, Cancel the Cabal, Unraveling the Secrets, all the other shows he mentioned. Great stuff. Great guests always on the show. Thanks for being on here, my friend. Guys, we're almost out of time. I want to give a quick shout-out again to Keith Rowland for making it happen here on Dark Matter Radio Network. And really quick, I want to tell you guys for tomorrow, Wednesday, check out the time slot. I'm going to go over some of the shows that are going to be on the network. Paranormal Filler is a new show at 7 p.m. Explore Your Spirits with Kayla. There you go. That's at 8 p.m. Then we got Podcast UFO Live at 9 p.m. And then Jimmy Church with Fade to Black from 10 p.m. on. Love his show. And then some special programming after 1 a.m. in the morning. So Keith is still trying to fill that time slot. So come back for Dark Matter Radio Network. Listen to those shows. Hopefully by this time next week my voice sounds better. And I do not sound...
If not, I
don't sound... Yes, you do. If not, hopefully I don't sound like Sylvia Brown again. So anyway, guys, this has been a lot of fun. And stay classy. Stay safe. Keep looking up to the skies. Skywatchers Radio. We're out of here. Good night, everybody. Peace.